Good Thursday morning at 6 o'clock. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. And good morning to Miller. Miller, I was just updating my social media that the Billings Clinic Kids Radiothon starts now.
That's right.
Yes.
You're on the board, yeah.
Yeah. So, just raising money for those kiddos over at Billings Clinic, especially their families, everything, from the bills that they have to pay, and also just the day-to-day things, other bills and some hard times that they might hit on trying to make it by. So
absolutely. I mean, there's no worse thing than having a child who's sick with all that worry you have to worry about your child, and raising money to help alleviate those bills. And so you don't have to worry about that. You just focus on family. You focus on your kid. Oh my goodness. So yeah, and that is today and tomorrow, and we'll keep you updated as we go along. Updating you on the weather, boy, it is cold out there. Down to -14 at the airport. Feels like -31. Winds out of the northeast at about 8 miles an hour. I want to crunch some numbers. Yesterday we hit a record high low of only -3. That's the fourth day in the row we've been either at 0 or below. 3 days in a row where we've been at minus temperatures. In fact, I think the last 3 days we've been at -3, and we're going to try to bust that again today. The record low high today was 7 back in 1936, and we could shatter that record. You can see we had some snowfall yesterday, about 3/10 of an inch. We can add another less than half an inch today in Billings, maybe a better shot. We'll see some snow tomorrow and maybe a greater shot at seeing some accumulation upwards of an inch or maybe even more so. The big story this morning is it is cold. Along the high line, we've got -24, -23. We've got -16 in Jordan, -14 in Livingston. Our warm spot right now looks like it's Missoula at about 5, and we've got negative temperatures down in northern Wyoming. And look at those wind chills, folks. Next couple of days, we could see wind chills at -40 below, up to 55 below. Dangerous temperatures out there, so stay indoors if you can. There's your planner today, folks. Going to be cloudy. We do have some flurries this morning, and then we may see some breaks for some sunshine a little bit later on, later today like we did yesterday. But of course, it's not going to warm us up as we see those record high lows again today and possibly tonight today. All right, so it's Inventor's Day. And we had some really interesting ones last time. What was your favorite invention? You said just heat in the car.
Yeah, a nice warm car. But here on the morning show, our favorite invention is the Earth Cam. And you can thank us for this or hate us for this.
That's downtown Billings there.
Yeah, this is a live shot from Aruba.
Oh my goodness.
Where it is a 79 beautiful degrees. I'm a little disappointed there's not more people out on the beach. But, considering everything going on.
Yeah, boy, that's beautiful. Just rub it in, why don't you, huh?
Yeah,
that
it's
is
nice
gorgeous.
breeze. I bet that's a warm breeze too. I bet it's not like a cold, painful breeze.
Hit the beach, a little pina colada, kick back, some suntan.
What do you think the wind chill would be at 79 with that breeze?
Gee whiz, I don't know. Probably plus 104 is what I'm thinking. Yeah, boy, wouldn't it be nice?
Nice dip in the water. All right. Well, for now, we'll keep dreaming, and I'll keep folks distracted by getting to some news. Thanks, Miller. The mask can come off this Friday. Governor Greg Gianforte made the announcement yesterday after signing the bill that he has called a necessary first step to lifting the mask mandate. MTN's Jonathan Imbarian has the details.
Montana implemented a state mask mandate in July, and it's applied to all counties statewide since November. Now, Governor Greg Gianforte says he's ready to rescind the mandate by the end of this week.
As I've said, we will continue to provide incentives to protect the health and safety of Montanans, and we will emphasize personal responsibility over mandates.
He made the announcement Wednesday at a signing ceremony for Senate Bill 65, a measure that limits when businesses, healthcare providers, and other organizations can be sued over COVID-19 related damages.
This is a significant step in getting Montana safely open for business.
Gianforte had said implementing SB 65 was a first step before he'd consider lifting the mandate. Another of his requirements was that more vulnerable Montanans receive COVID vaccines. He says as counties start vaccinating those over 70 and pharmacies hold clinics in long-term care facilities, that requirement has been met. He also pointed to the continued drop in active COVID-19 cases across the state. Gianforte said while the state mandate will end Friday, local governments can still implement their own mask mandates. The state has announced they'll receive another 16,000 first doses of COVID vaccine next week and more than 13,000 second doses. But Gianforte said Wednesday he still wants the federal government to increase Montana's allocation. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
And meanwhile, it does not appear Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton will implement a local mask mandate, but he is encouraging people to make good decisions.
We still need people to continue to be careful. So I think particularly where people find themselves in areas where they're compressed with a lot of others, masking is still going to be important. We as individuals will need to make that decision. And businesses can make their own decisions as well. They can choose to say, we're going to require people to be masked in our organization.
Felton says he is concerned case numbers could go up once fewer people are wearing masks. Right now, Yellowstone County is averaging about 40 cases per day. In education news, Lockwood students are returning to full in-person classes very soon. They have been attending 2 days a week in the middle and high schools and half a day elementary school. Q2's David J. has more on the changes.
Some parents are happy with the decision to return to full-time school.
Tons of excitement. A lot of parents that I knew that wanted their kids back full-time, they all made comments on Facebook and were texting about just how excited the kids were.
Students may attend in person Monday through Thursday, with half a day on Friday for the elementary school. It's 4 days also for the high school and the middle school, and teachers will be available on Fridays for online and in-person students.
We actually have some of those kids that have opted out. They're coming in on Fridays to get help and sit down and meet with their teachers because they might not feel comfortable being in school with even half the kids here.
The pre-K and kindergarten classes will stay on the half-day schedule.
Those kids have never been in a full day of school yet, and we thought just making that transition at this time of year would probably be more detrimental to their learning than it would be to keep them in the half days and then make that transition next fall.
And they say full-time school will help in other areas.
They're missing out on social aspects. They were missing out on PE, music, all of those things. So I'm excited to have the kids be able to get more of that as well.
And some parents preferred the old schedule.
In talking with my principals, I think this was a 60-40 type decision for most of us. I don't think anybody felt this is the only way we can do it. You know, the big thing going forward is as a community and as a school, we just need to respect everybody's opinions on that. We are all trying to do what we think are best for kids.
In Lockwood, David J., MTN News.
School officials are targeting February 22nd as a start date for middle and high school students. Elementary students will return on March 8th. Now, continuing our coverage, one of the largest and most discussed mansions in Billings is off the market. This 30,000 square foot home in the Ironwood subdivision was listed for more than $11 million when the sale was announced. The real estate agent who represents both the buyer and seller announced the deal on Facebook. The mansion includes 10 bedrooms, 19 bathrooms, a 14-car garage, a 5-story elevator, an indoor shooting range, 3 swimming pools, and a bowling alley. It was developed by Larry Price Jr., who pleaded guilty in 2019 to embezzling $20 million from 3 coal-related companies. And the mansion isn't the only Billings home to come off the market recently. Inventory is low. Homes are under contract quickly, and prices are skyrocketing. MTN's Andrea Lutz digs into why there's such an interest in buying in Montana.
We're looking ahead to 2021 in Montana's housing market. While experts say it's hard to know exactly what the market will do in such a fragile economy, there's one thing for sure. Now is the best time to act by either selling, refinancing, or buying. That is, if you can find property in such a hot market still.
Montana, with its western charm, seems to be attracting folks from all across the country.
We have become a very popular destination.
But why?
Because we're such an attractive place for people to come to.
The spike in home prices seems to move parallel with 2 important factors: a hot political season and COVID-19. President of the Billings Association of Realtors, Frosty Urban, says people are looking for solitude and finding it here in Montana.
We have an increasing number of people coming into the market, the influx of people from out of state.
But that's making inventory low. Last year, Billings had 8 months of inventory. Now there's only 1.
We knew there was a shift coming. However, this is the first one that I've been involved in that was driven to a certain degree by a pandemic. And this is a shift that nobody anticipated.
And if they're not buying, They're building. Though the real estate market is booming, there's supply and demand issues when it comes to building materials.
Building a new home where it used to take 4 months is taking up to 6 months.
Experts say the supply of lumber is creating bottlenecks because of the pandemic, pushing the price of a new home up by several grand. So if there's any time to act, Urban says it's now.
The advice that I give people is there's never a better time to do it than now. And the reason why I say that is because we do have an unsettled economic environment.
And when it comes to selling, he says, well, that's a good idea too. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Interest rates to refinance are teetering as low as 2%, but because there's so many people looking to refinance their mortgages, Urban says there's a massive waiting period to do so. Now in national news, House impeachment managers introduced a chilling new video at President Trump's impeachment trial. Democrats stand by their claims Trump incited the insurrection and didn't take action to stop the rioters as they stormed through the Capitol building. CBS's Deborah Alfarone has the latest.
House impeachment managers unveiled never-before-seen security footage of the Capitol riot in the trial of former President Trump.
On January 6th, President Trump left everyone in this Capitol for dead.
In one video, Vice President Mike Pence is seen being rushed to safety as the crowd outside chanted for his death. This cell phone video taken by a rioter shows them looking for House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, Nancy!
Her staff barricaded themselves in a conference room not long before rioters tried and failed to get in.
And so they came, draped in Trump's flag, and used our flag, the American flag, to batter and to bludgeon.
The Democratic prosecutors say Mr. Trump was not an innocent bystander.
And if you don't fight like hell.
And that he did nothing to stop the attack, which happened as lawmakers were certifying the 2020 election.
They believed that they were doing this for him.
House impeachment managers will finish their argument today. Then on Friday, Mr. Trump's lawyers have 2 days to make their case.
The evidence that has been presented thus far is pretty damning.
Some Republicans, like Alaska's Lisa Murkowski, say it's tough to see everything laid out.
We lived it once, and that was awful.
One Capitol police officer died and more than 100 were injured that day. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Many Republican senators say the rioters should be held responsible for their own actions and not Donald Trump. It's unlikely there will be the necessary 17 GOP votes to convict the former president.